Hey everyone, I'm Stephanie, host and head bookologist here at the Get Literate podcast. I'm a book loving, notebook hoarding reader and writer on a mission to change lives one book and one notebook at a time. On this podcast, we explore the power of bookology. What's that? That's the study of books and reading and notebooks and writing mixed with mindful practices and creativity to create lives we love. Here, you'll find episodes exploring the reading and writing life and how they can make our actual lives better. You'll get book recommendations and notebooking prompts around particular themes, and you'll even hear from authors and special guests who can fuel our reading and writing hearts and help us take inspired action in our own daily practices. So, grab a notebook and your TBR list, and let's get literate. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Get Literate podcast. I'm Stephanie Affinito, and I'm here with another episode on how reading and writing can make life better, especially if we choose to do it in the morning. Yes, that is what we are talking about today. I have talked about the benefits of reading and writing at any time of the day on multiple previous episodes of the podcast. But today, I'm talking specifically on why you should have a morning routine that embraces reading and writing because the research shows that it is the perfect time to do it, and it has a wonderful domino effect on the rest of our day. So we are jumping in to all things morning routines today, which quite frankly is my favorite time of the day. It's early, it's quiet, nothing is vying for my attention. I can put in that time exactly what I want to put there because I'm not borrowing it from somewhere else other than perhaps my own sleep. But it really, truly is the most wonderful part of my day that I credit to a lot of my productivity in the rest of the day later on. So let's start with the research. Why should you have a morning routine? And then specifically, why should you have a morning routine like mine that has reading and writing and yoga in it? I've got research for that too. So, first, having a morning routine, a structured start to your day, can do a lot of things. Primarily, boost your mental well being, boost your overall health, and boost your productivity. So, yes, time spent on you in the morning will make you be a better, more productive human later on. So, I want to just clarify quickly the 5 research based areas of why you should have a morning routine. And then I'm going to get into why I think you should have my morning routine with 3 particular things in it. So, number 1, having a structured morning routine boosts our mental clarity and our focus. If we have intentional activities in our morning routine, things like meditation, journaling, reading, exercise, those intentional activities can help set a positive tone for our day. We are filling our cup early. We are getting rid of those distractions and making time for ourselves. And we're being intentional with how we want the rest of the day to go. And when we start our morning like that, with intentional structured activities, we are making sure we're not starting decision fatigue right at the top of the day because we're getting up and we know what we're going to do, and that is going to have a positive impact on the rest of our day. So, having a morning routine boosts our mental clarity and our focus. It also enhances our productivity and our goal achievement. Yes, even though in the morning we are focused on us, not work, having that morning routine, that morning ritual, that is a discipline. That is a self-control that we are growing in ourselves. And if we can grow our own discipline and self-control, we are growing those skills needed for long-term success in whatever we decide to do. Plus, if we start the day with high priority tasks, things that are really important to us personally, however we define that, whether it is reading or writing or some other creative project or movement or something in nature, Knowing that we've done that high priority task for ourselves, that maximizes our productivity later on. Section 3 of the research shows, and this is my favorite part, that having a structured routine in the morning can support our mental health and offer stress reduction. So activities like meditation, gratitude journaling, yoga, all of those activities have been shown to lower our cortisol levels. And if our cortisol levels are lower, our stress on our body is lower, our inflammation in our body is lower, and that just brings a whole host of positive effects. If we add getting outside to our morning routine, right? If we're up early, we're doing these wonderful things, and we give ourselves some exposure to morning sunlight, well, that helps regulate our circadian rhythm, which also helps improve our mood. Okay, so far, so good. Number 4, having a morning routine can improve our physical health and our energy levels if it involves some morning exercise. That morning exercise can be whatever you want it to be. It could be walking, could be yoga, Pilates, weights, cardio, agility, mobility, whatever you want. But it's been shown that exercising in the morning boosts our endorphins, those happy hormone chemicals, along with improving our cardiovascular health and our cognitive function, which just has added benefits to our day. And when we do that, when we take those actions to get healthy like that, we tend not to throw it all away in the kitchen that day. So that typically leads to more hydration and a nutritious breakfast, which can help magnify all of these areas too. And now the last area of research on how a structured morning routine can help us make life better. Well, if we can create that morning routine, we can set into action a whole host of positive habits that can reinforce our long-term behavioral changes. If we get one morning routine down, we can add another layer to it and another layer to it, and then maybe start an evening shutdown routine or put in other healthy habits in our lives because we are starting with this small morning routine. I mean, think about that. Just getting up in the morning and choosing a set of activities to do over and over and over again can boost our mental clarity and focus, enhance our productivity, support our mental health and reduce stress, improve our physical health and our energy levels, and strengthen our habit formation and help us be consistent in whatever our goals are. Now, with all that research behind it, right, who wouldn't want to get started on a morning routine starting tomorrow? Or if you already have one, who wouldn't want it to give it a little bit extra more love? Now, if you want to dive into this research behind morning routines, if you want to figure out what a morning routine could look like for you, because there is no one right way to do a morning routine, I, of course, have 3 books that I think you could take a look at. The first is a very seminal canon book, so to speak, called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. Most people, when they think morning routines, they think of The Miracle Morning. And Hal has this acronym called SAVERS. And he feels like in as little as 6 minutes a day, you technically could do 6 things, 1 minute each. You could boost your morning to boost your life. And so those 6 little things are following the SAVERS acronym: silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing, which also means writing. Now, you technically could do those things 1 minute each for a 6-minute morning routine. But of course, the more minutes you have, the more you could add to it and the more benefits you'll get. So the Miracle Morning will walk you through how to put a set of savers into your morning. Now, another book I recommend has a wonderful acronym, I think, not nearly as popular as Hal's, but you know I love to bring underrepresented and underread books to the podcast. And so I want to recommend to you a book called Rise and Shine: How to Transform Your Life Morning by Morning, just published in 2003 by Kate and Toby Oliver. And just like Hal had the SAVERS acronym, Kate and Toby have the SHINE acronym, Rise and Shine. And so their acronym stands for silence and stillness, happiness, finding things that help you start the day feeling happy and confident, intention, nourishment, and exercise. Now, technically, they're kind of the same things, right? Savers and Shine. I just love the Shine acronym and the way it helps us think about setting ourselves up for success in the morning. Now, I've got one more for you. This one is called Own Your Morning. Reset Your Routine to Unlock Your Potential by Liz Baker Blosser. Now, this book is even less known, I would say, than the others, at least according to how many reviews there are. But I loved it because Liz, who is the editor-in-chief of Women's Health, she's very clear how there's no cookie cutter morning routine that's going to lead you to success. Instead, her whole book advocates for finding a morning routine that reflects what matters most to you. And she's got lots of things in there to help you do that. There are prompts, there are pictures, there are charts, there are essays, there are all sorts of things to help you visualize and plan a morning routine that's exactly what you need. So those are the 3 books I recommend. But in Liz Baker Plosser's fashion of finding your own morning routine, I want to share with you what I think 3 things are that should be in your morning routine, just like they are in mine. Now, when I first started my morning routine 15 plus years ago, I did it all wrong. I was getting up an hour earlier to work more. I was getting up an hour earlier to do things for everybody else so that my day wasn't quite as crazy, to do laundry, to make lunches, to clean. It was not fun. And as I learned and grew and dove into personal development, I realized that if I'm getting up an hour early, then that time could and should be for me. And so I've experimented over the years with what I fill it with. Reading, yes. Writing, yes. Movement, yes. Walking, yes. Creativity, yes. I've done all of the things. And I feel like I have stumbled on the perfect combination right now. Now, I want to say 50 or so episodes ago, I talked about my morning magical routine. That's where I read inspirational books, and that inspirational book led to some really beautiful writing in my morning page notebook. I loved it because I felt like I was filling myself up on the inside with these beautiful, inspiring words. And then I was writing in a way that was positive and proactive and just felt really good, which was unlike a lot of what ends up in my morning pages, which is complaining and whining and working through things that are hard. Over time, as I've mentioned, I have tinkered with what I do in the morning and how I do it and the order that I do it. And I've stumbled on the 3 things that I think are absolutely essential for my morning routine, that are stackable, that are based on research, and that I know can help you feel really good too, especially because you're here listening to a podcast about reading and writing. So I don't think I'm going to have to convince you very much when I say your morning routine could and should, in my opinion, have reading, writing, and yoga inside of it every morning. Now, you can stack them in whatever manner you want to stack them, and I'll give you a suggestion later on. They can be as little or as long of a time as you need them to be. And they can be wrapped around and within additional morning routine practices as well. But for me, these are my core 3. When I do these things in the morning, I feel the best I can feel. I feel the most productive moving into my day. I just feel good. And I want you to feel it too. Now, I want to talk a little bit more about the research behind it. I'm not just picking reading, writing, and yoga because I like reading, writing, and yoga. I mean, technically I do. But there is a lot of research behind it. Now, you've heard me talk on this podcast a bazillion times before about the research-based benefits to reading and writing. But there is particular research that shows why reading and writing in the morning is especially beneficial. And that's why I'm putting it in my morning routine and hope you will too. So let's talk about the research in relation to why reading, writing, and yoga is best in the morning and can just kick that first domino down of wonderfulness for the rest of your day. So, reading in the morning. Morning is the peak time for any kind of cognitive function and deep work. It is the best time. Your brain is ready to go. If you are reading in the morning, our focus is at its best. Our ability to comprehend is at its best. Our ability to retain knowledge is at its best because in the morning we have higher dopamine and higher cortisol levels, and that influences our memory. So we're focused. We don't have a whole lot of outside distractions. We've got the right hormones coursing around in our body. We can really focus and attend to that reading. But better yet, what we read matters too. So if our brains are ready to be tuned in and ready to focus, if we read content that is inspiring or thought-provoking, that sets us up to have a better, more positive, more creative tone for the day. Now, it doesn't mean you have to read inspirational nonfiction only. You could read a fiction text to boost your creativity and your empathy, as long as that book is chosen specifically for you and what you want to do and how you want to feel. And again, if you want suggestions for that, you know I love creating book apothecaries for others. It could mean reading a snippet of a nonfiction text or personal development or transformation literature to stimulate learning on a topic or give you inspiration. Or maybe it involves poetry to help you embrace a particular feeling that you want to feel. But we know during the morning, that is the perfect time to read because our brain's ready for it, our hormones and our bodies are ready for it, and we want to be primed for the positive tone that we could set for our day. So reading in the morning, check, right? Add it to your morning routine. Now let's talk about writing in the morning. Writing in the morning has a particular opportunity to boost our creativity and our productivity too. Now, think about it. In the morning, you're getting up a little bit earlier, likely to fit this morning routine in, which means there are less external distractions around you. Most people are getting up and the rest of their family is sleeping. There isn't a television on. There aren't things going off in your email. Well, yet, I hope, or your phone isn't even around you. But there are less external distractions. And so your brain is able to focus just like it could in reading. But because of those lack of external distractions, your brain is thought to be most creatively uninhibited. Right? It's not worried and bogged down with everything else. So it's just putting whatever it thinks and feels out there. It's thinking them. And so writing first thing in the morning before your day gets underway, it can enhance your problem solving. It can promote your own self-reflection. It can boost your emotional regulation. And yes, it can even support greater creativity. That's why Julia Cameron's morning pages are done in the morning. Now, technically, yes, you can get benefits from writing at any time of day. And there are a whole bunch of us that like to say anytime pages. But there is research to show, well, this kind of writing is best in the morning. That could be a journaling brain dump where you're just writing everything down. It could be a gratitude list. It could be planning out your goals. It could be creative writing, writing your own fiction, writing your own poetry. It could be just writing a to-do list or setting your intention for the day to approach the day mindfully. But doing that kind of writing in the morning, lots of research to show it's even more important than at additional times of the day. Now, finally, let's get to yoga. You know, I have been on a yoga bandwagon. It has helped my own life, my own physical body tremendously. I've become certified in yoga and I teach yoga. I just feel like it was the missing link in my own life. And so I love sharing it with others. And specifically doing yoga in the morning, it's been shown to enhance your mind body connection even more, right? So moving in the morning gets the happy chemicals flowing. It boosts dopamine, it boosts serotonin, and we know that that improves our mood and our focus. If we pair yoga with the breath and we are focusing on moving with the breath and perhaps adding some deep breathing pranayama to it, then we can reduce the cortisol levels in our body, right? That lowers stress, that improves clarity, that makes our body feel better. And there's also research to show that doing mindful movement like yoga early in the morning before your day starts, before you go to work, it actually improves the productivity that you do at work. It improves your emotional well being and the steadiness of that throughout the day. It could be just a 5-minute stretch, it could be 10 minutes of simple sun salutations, or it could be pressing play on a longer YouTube video where you can practice your breath work or get moving in particular yoga sequences with someone guiding you. So reading, writing, yoga, good at any time. Reading, writing, yoga in the morning, even better. That is why I am here to shout from the rooftops that you should add these 3 things to your morning routine. Now, how you do it is completely up to you, right? Let's start off by talking about the time first. Maybe you don't have a lot of time in the morning. You have kids, you have a commute, you need to sleep. I get it. Start with 5 minutes, right? Wake up 5 minutes earlier in the morning and choose one of these things to do every day for a week. Next week, when you feel like that was doable and you're starting to get the benefits of it, add 5 more minutes and stack the second piece on. You choose what that second piece is. And then after that week, perhaps you stack the third thing on. And now you have 15 minutes of a very supportive, very nourishing morning routine. If you know that you got this, you can set your alarm a little bit earlier. Maybe you do 10, 10, and 10, and you wake up 30 minutes earlier, right? Or maybe you have somewhere a variation between the two. The timing is less important as the doing of the thing. And once you do the thing, I promise you'll stretch it. I started with just a few minutes of each of these, and now my morning routine is about an hour, and I'm willing to get up well before 5 a.m. to do that before the rest of my family wakes up. Now, the other thing you get to think about is how you want to stack them. So first, how many minutes do you have? How many minutes are you willing to grow into your practice? And then, how will you stack them? There's a couple of different ways you can stack them, and I vary mine depending on my mental status and the season of life that I am in. So I always do those 3 things. I just vary the order depending on what I need. So right now, in this current moment of my life, I'm dealing with a lot. I'm going through a lot. And for me, starting with writing has been the best. I wake up, I write, and I write. I mean, I journal speak write. And if you don't know what journal speak is, go to my Substack on elitlife.substack.com and find out. It's deep writing where you're just writing everything on the page with the intent of burning it or shredding it so no one ever sees what has shown up about them. So I start with that deep, honest writing. From there, when I get to the end of the page and I do 2 full pages of an A5 notebook, so not quite an 8.5 by 11 page. I know morning pages said to do more. My hands and my wrists and my joints just can't do that. But I think 2 full smaller pages is pretty good. From there, I just sit in silence for a minute and I choose an affirmation to guide the rest of my day, right? Based on how I feel, based on how I want to feel, based on how I want the day to go, I choose an affirmation. Sometimes I make them up for myself. Sometimes I go to Louise Hay's books and I grab one based on how my body feels. Sometimes I go to Sonia Choquette and I choose one from her. But I choose an affirmation and I write it down. I might write it on a sticky note and smack it right down on my journal page. I might write it on the bottom of my journal page. I put it out there visually to see. And then based on that feeling I want to cultivate from the day, I go to my yoga mat. Yoga is my second stack of my morning routine. And I move in a way that helps me bring that affirmation and that feeling to life. Now, I'm a yoga teacher and I've learned how to create these sequences for myself. So sometimes I just make up my own and I do it. Other times I go onto YouTube and I search up a video of my favorite yoga teachers. I type in the search bar yoga and then whatever feeling my affirmation is meant to cultivate. And there is always some sort of guided yoga video there. So I move my body, and I move my body for two reasons. One, to move the emotion out. We could have a whole nother episode on somatic yoga, but after that therapeutic writing session, you need to move your body to process that emotion. I also need to move my body because I have creaky joints and places that hurt, and morning yoga is the number one thing that really helps me. From there, I go from writing, I go to my mat. From there, I go to reading. That's where I will pick out some sort of inspiring piece. Maybe I'll get out Simple Abundance and I will read the daily entry. Maybe I will go to Soul Shift and I'll read an entry. Maybe I'll go to Rachel Hollis's new book about 27 questions we can ask ourselves. Maybe I'll just randomly pick up some of Kate Baer's poetry. It all depends. And then sometimes I just dive into the realistic fiction book that I'm reading. Again, no right way. I have found right now in this season, this stackable routine is literally saving my life. It's saving my mental health. It is saving my physical health. And it helps me feel the best I can feel. Now, in another season of life, though, I may not need to wake up and just brain dump on the page all of the things that are on my mind. Maybe I won't have as much to write about. And so I don't want to start with writing first. And you know what? That's okay. So at that point, I could shift to reading first. I could get out something that's going to be thought provoking and introspective and help me to think about an aspect of my life that I want to think about. And from there, I could go to my notebook and write about that thing I just read about. Really productive, really reflective, feeling really good and intentional. And from there, I could stand up and go to my mat. I could pull up a yoga video that embraces that theme that I just read and wrote about, or I could just go and move in whatever way feels really good. So that's why I love this stackable routine because you get to pick the order of them. Right now, I go from writing to yoga to reading. On another day, another season, I might go reading to writing to yoga. And in yet another time, if I get up and my eyes just are too tired to do reading or writing first, I could always go to my mat first. And when I get off my mat, decide what I want to do with my cup of coffee, read or write, and go from there. So that's the beauty of a stackable practice. You know the things, the practices you want to fill your morning with to feel really good. And then depending on how each morning feels, how each season feels, you get to decide how and what you fill it with. I hope I have done a good job of convincing you, number one, why you need a morning routine, and number two, why your morning routine should be filled with reading, writing, and movement. I have talked about yoga as my preferred form of movement, but you could do walking meditations. You could get on your treadmill or your exercise bike. You could do whatever it is for you to move your body. I have just found yoga has been the best and the most gentlest for me. So I want to know what you think. Have I convinced you to add these three things to your morning routine? You know where to find me. You can head to alitlife.com and leave me some comments in the show notes for this episode. You can head to social media and find me at AfinitoLit and maybe drop a message into my DMs. Or you can click that audio button and you could let me know what you think of this episode by sending me an audio message. When you're there, I'd love to know what you might want next. When I talk about my morning routine in my Substack, I always get wonderful questions asking, how do you get up that early? How do you fit that into your day? How do you decide what to read and which practices? So I want to know your questions because I'd love to keep diving into this topic. Do you want to know what one morning actually looks like, from what I wrote in my notebook to the exact yoga sequence I did to the books that I picked out? Do you want to have a collection of inspirational morning books to choose from, a collection of reflective writing prompts to pull from? Or maybe you want to go to my YouTube channel, which I've dubbed my Restorative Reading, Writing, and Yoga channel, and you want a quick 5-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute, 20-minute practice based on particular themes that you're looking for. I am up for all of that. My morning routine, as I mentioned, is literally my saving grace, and I would love to share with others how adding reading, writing, and yoga to it has really been the game changer. So you tell me all the things, and I'll tell you all the things back that you want to know, whether that's in another episode, on Substack, on YouTube, or whatever else we dream up as we think about making our mornings the best they can be so that we can be the best we can be. Thanks for listening, everyone. I can't wait to hear your thoughts. And in the meantime, happy reading, happy writing, and happy yoga or moving, whatever you choose. Have a great morning, everyone, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Get Literate podcast. You'll find links to all the books, resources, and ideas mentioned in the show notes and at alitlife.com. And if you want more, you might like to join my Patreon community. There, you'll find additional inspiration for your reading and writing life, like bonus podcast episodes, book calendars, monthly book clubs, notebooking inspiration, live events, giveaways, and more. It's only $5 a month, and you get instant access to all of the previous content too. Learn more at getliterate.co. And one more thing. If you love what you listened to today, please take a moment to rate and review the podcast, or take a screenshot of the episode and text it to a friend. This helps the podcast grow, and it builds our bookish and notebookish community too. Thanks for listening.